the whole aspect of gaming is itself, I believe, encouraging this profit at someone else's loss. And then you start taking it even further. The athletes who pride themselves and do victory dances and hot dog, all because they beat someone. And where is that quiet dignity of winning without feeling you have to humiliate the people that you beat? And today it's a ritual. It's almost it's gone back to the Roman gladiators, and we are the spectators. And I find this unfortunate. In any case, I give this just as a sidebar, because when you look at the Mediterranean diet, what you're not seeing is beyond the diet, the lifestyle, the attitude, the belief systems, the values that those people have throughout the Mediterranean. Now, mind you, the Mediterranean has 3 sections. And if you know your geography, you know that the Western Mediterranean, like Greece and Crete and Italy and Spain and France, and represent but one part of that. And then you have the inner Mediterranean, which is on and Italy, and then on the other side you have the other side of Italy, and then you have all your Eastern European countries that border on that. There's 2 distinctly different diets, 2 distinctly different cultures, even though not separated by very much distance. Once again, family is very important. Being able to sit with people, knowing that as you get older, there'll be people there your entire life. The idea of putting someone in Croatia or in Latvia, Romania, Hungary, Poland, Czechoslovakia, they would never think of taking someone who they feel is no longer relevant in their lives and putting them into a nursing home or assisted living center. It's just unconscionable. In our society, we don't blink an eye. And when someone becomes an inconvenience, for most people, not all, it's off, and that person goes through transition. Now, what's interesting also about the Mediterranean, I'm digressing, but I think for an important lesson here, we have a hard time in our culture today going through transitions because we don't have the extended family. We don't have complete families. We have fractured families. They help us understand that we're in a transition. Here is what's going to happen, and here's the ways we can prepare ourselves to go through these. You look at some of the people today, especially younger people, they're completely unprepared to go from being home to in college to out in the workplace, and then they start rushing like mad because they've been told and believed that there's a shortage of money, a shortage of jobs, shortage of everything because my generation, the baby boomers, took it all and exploited it. In point of fact, there are no real shortages in that context. You just have to be creative enough, and also you have to be flexible enough to understand in a world that has caused a limitation in some jobs, in some areas, be creative and open up other jobs for yourself, as some people are doing. But if you have a family, you have people that can support you, that's very important. But a lot of people don't have people to support them. But in Europe, you still have that. And that's why even in the midst of this crisis, many people in Eastern Europe specifically and Central Europe are actually surviving this crisis better than we are in our society. They were not as consumer-oriented, though that was creeping into their society. But consumerism wasn't the highest ideal you could reach. How much do you buy? How much do you own? What do you possess? Now, when I've sat in homes in France and Italy and Germany and Spain and Ireland and Scotland and England, all over the world, I pay careful attention to the energy that I see shared in that house with each other or with me, a stranger. And I find it's just remarkable how calm and even that the people are in their lives, how they are actually able to take things and broaden the perspective of how they see them, put them in a proper context. We normally put things into a very narrow context, and it's highly reactive. And so when people go to sit down at a meal, they pay attention to that meal. They know where everything came from. They know how it was prepared. They know what seasonings were used. They take their time eating it. You don't see people rushing through meals because they know someone grew the vegetables. Someone, probably in that family, brought in the harvest. Someone baked the bread. And it was done with love and care. People enjoy doing that. They don't look at it as a hardship. You don't see them rushing out and getting a pizza and bring it in. Say, okay, family of 14 relatives, grandfather, grandmother, siblings, nephews, here's some pizza and a cola. You don't have that because the traditions passed down show that everyone is respected. Their values are respected, no matter what point in life they are. So the questions that get answered, listen in, some of these Italian families in particular. You're in a big room, they're all eating, all ages, from their 90s down to their teens, and a question is asked. Watch who answers the question first, then who answers it second, then who answers it third. You'll generally get 3 answers. And there is a way that each answer imparts a different way of looking at the problem because it's a different generation. So they have a generational eye that they're looking through. And the older the eye, the broader the perspective. And then it gets younger and younger, and each eye gives you a different perspective, but it's narrowed to their own experience and their own understanding. So the older you are in the rest of the world, the more you're respected. Your knowledge, your insights, your compassion, your sensitivity, your kindness, your gentleness is appreciated. I can't tell you how many times I've spoken with children or teenagers or young people who were having a problem who bypassed their parents and went to their grandparents because they knew that they would be treated differently, and they appreciated it. In our society, when was the last time your kid, 17, went to a 75-year-old grandmother to ask input? They're generally dragged off, kicking and screaming and rebelling that they have to go to grandma's or grandpa's for a holiday or for an anniversary. We have broken that linkage of transitions. We're supposed to go from having children in the house to no longer having children, from being married to divorced, from being a wonderful couple to a widow or widower, without understanding how to deal with it. And as a result, we don't have the tools to deal with it, and that's why so many people sublimate with tranquilizers and drugs. In other cultures, you learn early on about the transitions, and people are there to help you and assist you during the transitions. So when we talk about the Mediterranean diet associated with less depression, let us not think that it's just in those wonderful purslane salads and the fresh vegetables or the fish that they eat and the long walks they take. It's their entire way of life that makes the difference. Now back to the point. According to this study, consuming a Mediterranean diet is associated with lower risk of depression. The diet's been linked with reduced risk of cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's, and other disorders, and a longer lifespan. Yeah, well, how about if you exercise more each day, longer lifespan? If you're more relaxed, longer lifespan. Less stress and less cortisol cruising through your veins, longer lifespan. Better family connections, longer lifespan. And that's especially true for men who still have mothers and fathers and relate to their mother and father on a regular basis. You're going to live a longer life because you're sharing your love. You have that linkage. It's very important. So that's one of those conservative values I heartily embrace. There are a lot of others, but I'll talk about that on a different show. The brain is 60% fat. It needs good fats. Now, this is from Knight Ridder, so this is mainstream is getting this message. I'll quote this. Want to live a long and healthy life? Increasingly, research points to healthy weight or healthy weight loss between the ages of 20 and 50. Fat loss, particularly fat around the waistline, helps prevent cancer, diabetes, heart attack, stroke, kidney failure, depression, and devastating other chronic illness like Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, Lou Gehrig's disease. Because women tend to live longer, they're more likely to suffer chronic disease or mental health problems, and that's no way to enjoy a longer life. Now they're talking about one way is to get the right fats in the body, because